Good day, everybody. Should open on about a minute early just to be ready. Sal asked, when will PulseChain digital I had some intel on that. I don't remember where I saw it. I think we're going to talk about that either last Monday on Spaces or Saturday, more likely Saturday. And I don't remember where it was. I'll try to dig it up while we're streaming. It's probably gone. It wasn't much. Kind of intel. I'm trying to think maybe about something about another shipping container after these 200,000 distributed, and maybe even more shipping containers. Yeah, let me see if I can find. We're pausing. Just keep an eye out for spaces to start. There we go. Yeah, that's on it. Hey, Lemonade. Good to see you. Keeping an eye for the spaces to start here. You always put that funny hand up there. It's like your signature. If anybody has any intel about this, digital postcards, or whatever those things are. Just a second. Oh, yeah. Oh, I picked the wrong date. Um, picked the wrong date for the space. Thursday. 6:30. Very banana. Hold tight, everybody. It's like two people. Who put in two? I guess. What's funny is I'm finding super details. Like I love details. I'm oriented, but at the same time, I'm like totally handicapped when it comes to details. It's weird. They could. As soon as you're starting with space, I'm still exploring the program. What's great is he never seems to mind too bad when I mess up. He's making that one. Too far from Mike. Yeah, we can't. There's no audio yet. I'm waiting for the spaces to start. Audio 3.5. What do you mean 3.5? You guys can hear me, right? Let me know if you can hear me. Because if you can hear me when we get this going, you'll be able to get the spaces. Okay, cool. All right. You guys have no idea how much work goes into setting up these spaces. It's a labor of love. messed up last week's too. Yes, you're right. Uh, in the chat. Hey Zen. I think I set the date for the spaces for last Thursday for some reason. Some like absent-minded reason.
Well, I don't even think we're at the 21st yet. So
Yeah.
whatever date the 21st
Oh,
is.
right. Yeah. Total mess up there. But we got it going. We got several people on YouTube, and I imagine, yeah, we got 7 people in the chat in the spaces. Let me know if my audio is okay, guys, on YouTube. If you would, please. I'm going to close some stuff down. How are you doing, Zen?
Good. Been busy at work, so plugging away at that, and interesting day yesterday in crypto, so that was kind of cool.
Yesterday, what? Oh, with the money coming over the bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting. And more came over today. I think 4.5 million yesterday and like 5.5 today. Does that sound right?
I didn't even know anything came over today. That's maybe how busy I am at work.
Yeah, well, you know, I got the message first thing this morning, and I was like, well, maybe this is from yesterday because it was a screenshot. Well, I went to Pulse Whale Bots on Twitter and confirmed it. Yeah, there was like 5.5, 6.5 million came over this morning, early this morning. So
yeah, I didn't even see that or see anyone really talk about that. That's pretty cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that is. So things are happening. I wonder where those millions of dollars landed, you know. Probably on course. And
Did you say you wonder? You said you wonder where it landed?
Yeah, I mean, I imagine it landed on course, or
well, I don't
somewhere.
think any of it's been spent yet.
So what's it sitting in, like a USDC?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of pretty much all the stables and ETH.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I imagine we'll find out.
Yeah. As of right now, I think it's just sitting there.
Fine by me. I'm in no hurry. If this bull run takes 9 months, 6, 9 months, whatever it's going to take, 4, 6, 9, whatever, we have time. You know what I'm saying?
I think we're actually pretty close. I think it's just getting it over here, getting it ready, and maybe when the market starts moving up again, because obviously it's a little bit flat right now, maybe once it starts moving up again, that's the time where that entity or those entities are going to try to get some attention.
Yeah. Yep.
Hey guys.
Shoot.
Hey Banana.
Hey, is this
Green.
Ty? Yeah, it's Ty. How you doing, man?
What's up, everybody? Hey Banana. I'm good, man. Just just weathering the storm, I guess. I think everybody's probably having a difficult time right now and for the next couple weeks. Not too many weeks, but a couple.
How so? How do you mean having a rough time?
Oh, it's just because we've been waiting for 2 years, so the last couple weeks is going to be, a lot. It's going to be like 2 years and 3 weeks.
You have a point.
Yeah, so, just that. But no, I've been talking to a lot of people about just sharing, like, if PulseChain does a 100x, then the DAO will have 100 times the revenue to work with, right? Yeah. The bots will be moving 100 times the amount of money. Just like all this stuff. And it's been good. But yeah, I stay quiet a lot.
I had some comments from the spaces. Yeah, that was Saturday. A couple of people commented to me about that, the Dow funds, point that you brought up. And it was, yeah. And I re-listened to it because I miss half the stuff in our spaces. So I re-listened to them, and it was good. You want to remind us if you would. I think it'd be good to have a refresher.
Okay. Yeah. So here's the situation, guys. This is the reality. We launched on PulseChain before the majority of the other projects show up. So if PulseChain, there's a couple pieces. If PulseChain does 100x, then building the size of liquidity that we're going to have is going to become financially unfeasible for other new projects. They're simply not going to be able to compete with the liquidity.
Yeah.
And so, but my main point is that for every new project that launches in the future, the DAO is going to be loaded with be able to execute on any new plays that may be, solid. And be able to scoop them up, right? Like, imagine if PulseChain did a 100x and the DAO's scooping up 100 times the money, and somebody launches a new coin and it's a good thing to pair with. Like, we would just be able to scoop that thing up. And
wow.
I think it just really opens a door, right? Opens a door for new opportunities.
Yeah. And I don't think we touched on that on Saturday, the opportunity to scoop up. Like, let's look at it this way. I was working on this a little bit today, let's say, because whenever somebody's entering a new position in a freshly launched coin, like the gold standard, if you can, is like that whale position, if you can, but then you kind of work down for that. The whale is 1%. And then you like, well, if I can't get a whale, maybe I can get, at least a shark or the dolphin, whatever you can get. You know what I mean? If you play the sea creature game, which is kind of fun, it's just a marker of how of the supply. But that is very true. If PTGC can scoop up portions of supply for assets that have been vetted, of course, and get like whale positions in certain tokens. Yeah, I think that's a big deal. And the potential is there with the DAO money.
Right.
We don't even need to do it a lot. You know what I mean? Just very deliberately, very carefully selecting.
Yeah. It's really, if you really put it in the light of pTGC without a DAO, or just any other project without a DAO, compared to a project that has a DAO, it's night and day on what that project is capable of and where it's going to go.
Yeah.
So just having the DAO by itself, huge. All the other stuff, huge. But it all adds up together, and I think it's going to be pretty wild, given that pTGC is deflationary. Like it's gonna do something that I don't think we've really seen before as far as price movement.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to hear some interesting stuff, Ty and Zen?
What's that?
Okay, I was gonna put this on Zen, but since you're here and we're already talking about it, I kind of steered the conversation that way because it's literally fresh on my mind. I'm going to share it with everybody on YouTube. It's a couple of slides that I created today for the book I'm making about the Grays currencies, and you're not going to hurt my feelings if you say, hey, that's who cares about this illustration, but I had the idea to illustrate the positions that pTGC has in its LPs represented as sea creature positions, which are, who cares about the sea creature? Let's skip right over the creature and go straight to the portion of the supply. And I'll give you a teaser. Do you know that UFO has a whale position in Hex, in the Hex LP? And you can correct me if I get anything wrong. But we have enough Hex in the UFO LP that we literally have a whale position in Hex. Well, it's not technically a whale, but it's not like 9.85% of the, 0.985% of the supply.
Okay. Wow.
pTGC has a whale position in Hex. That has meaning to me. That's like, Okay, that's not me. I don't hold a whale position in hex, but I hold a little bit of hex. I mean pTGC that has a position in hex. So by proxy, I'm part of that.
Right.
I'm assuming this is excluding Richard's tickers.
How do you mean?
Well, wallets that are owned by the OA are a very large portion of the supply of hex. So I'm assuming this is excluding those wallets.
I'm not sure. I got the supply that I got the hex, for example. In this one example, I went to Dex Screener, and I see how much hex is paired with UFO. Oh, I see what you're saying. Where did I get the supply of hex?
Yeah.
Good question. I got it from a site that I got it from Pulse Coin List.
And do they have a toggle there that is like excluding OA wallets and including OA wallets?
Let's see. I don't know. And I was going to talk. I wanted to talk to you about this anyhow.
Yeah, I think on Pulse Coin List, because even with Pulse and PulseX, I know for a fact on Go Pulse, there's a toggle where you exclude and include the OA. I don't know if it moves hex though. I would have to play around with it again.
Okay. Well,
I don't think Pulse Coin List that much.
It says that for hex, it says the supply is 41 billion. Does that sound low? I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know what the supply of hex is.
No, I'm gonna look it up as we're talking.
Okay, cool. But that's just one example. Then you can go over to. So while you're looking that up, let me find my screen here. Let's go to pTGC. So I made this. I just found like the top. Well, any token, any asset, any pair that we had like $100,000 or more of LP. So, well, like pTGC has a 5.23% of the supply pair with UFO. So that's 5 whale positions in that UFO pTGC pair. With X, it has 5 whale positions. With your mom, 3 whale positions. Teddy, nearly 1 whale position, 0.82% of a whale. PDI has 5 shark positions. Most, 3 shark positions. Atropa, 2 shark positions, and so on, I thought that was an interesting way of looking at it.
All right, so I got some numbers for you, and
okay.
Maybe you can see if these match your numbers.
Okay.
So this is excluding the OA, which I think is fair to exclude the OA. I don't know what you were doing.
I wasn't even factoring the OA in at all.
Okay, so this is excluding the OA, in quotes, Richard's wallets. Who knows who owns those wallets or if they sell or not, but definitely those tokens haven't been in circulation. So I think it's fair to say that they're not in circulation.
Yep.
Pulse has 17 trillion. Do you know what you came up with?
Let's see what I got. I got to look in my spreadsheet over here. Yeah, I can refer to my spreadsheet a whole lot easier than I can this chart that I wrote. You said Pulse. I have 135 trillion.
Okay, so that's including the OA. So if you exclude the OA, it's 17 trillion.
Whoa. Well, okay. I like that better. The only problem is if I fix one asset, then I have to go fix in a sense the other ones. I wanted to just get the number straight off of Pulse Coin List.
What do you mean you're going to have to fix other ones?
Because if we're going to, shave down PLS, then I should do the same for UFO. and PTDC and any others. You know what I mean?
There's no there's no non-circulating tokens in UFO and PTGC, but
okay.
If you want to, besides the dead address, right? But I have the numbers for Pulse, PulseX, and Hex all right in front of me right now.
What's PulseX?
PulseX, not including the OA, is 20 trillion.
Wow. Okay. Well, that sweetens up the position.
Yeah. What was it before? I was looking it up. I didn't hear what it was before.
PLS I had down as 2 dolphins, but now it's 0.16%, which is 1.6 sharks. And then for Pulse X, I had 1 dolphin, and now it's 8 dolphins.
Nice. Okay. You want Hex?
Yes, please.
Is that for PTGC or UFO or both?
This is, well, I will move the, oh, sorry. Yeah, that was PTDC.
Okay.
I'm working on one at a time.
Yeah.
Hex. You got Hex?
Yeah. Hex is 104 billion.
104. And that is the P Hex, correct?
Yeah, that's P Hex.
Whoa. Okay, hold up. 104 billion. Somehow I had 41 billion. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. What's more accurate.
All right. So since I made the statement that we hold a whale position in Hex, let me fix this number and I'll tell you what we came up with now.
Yeah, now we're close to like a half a whale position or a little under half a whale position.
Yeah, give me a second. I'll tell you in a second. Values only. Okay. Yeah, 2 sharks.
And that's just PTGC.
That's UFO, because I was talking about UFO earlier. And PTDC is 4 dolphins. Making sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Hey, but I mean, we literally have 2 shark positions in Hex on UFO. That's user provided LP, of course, but users have contributed the equivalent of 2 shark positions.
Yeah, that's awesome. When stuff starts heating up, and I'm sure you know this, Banana, because you were buying at higher levels, getting even a shark position once prices start moving again will become almost impossible unless you're just going to DCA large lump sums of value. That's really one blessing of the stip that's kind of happened on PulseChain Hex, PulseX for the time period that it has, is it's given the PTGC and UFO system the time and ability to really accumulate these assets. So when they do start to get some value, get some recognition, we already kind of locked ourselves into a very good chunk of them.
Yep. And of course, you're referring to PTDC and UFO, right?
Yeah. I'm just referring to them both in general that, over the last year, we've been able to, if it's onboarding people into UFO to put up their value and, utilize the farms to earn passive PLS, or within PTGC, we've gotten the ability to, use the DAO to build up those LPs. Either way, it's created a system that has a very, very large amount of the Richard Hart tickers in LP. I'm sure if you went into each Richard Hart ticker, and you can kind of do this on Secreto Bank and looked up the PTGC liquidity compared to even the Richard Hart liquidity compared to itself. Like, I know Pulse has a lot of LP with stable coins and ETH, but if you go to like Hex and PulseX, I would honestly guess that PTGC probably holds 10, 20, PTGC and UFO holds around 10 to 20% of their total liquidity.
Whoa.
Together. PTGC.
What about total supply?
Well, I think Banana was kind of just saying that. What do we have? A couple shark positions of at least hex, and I think you said a couple sharks or a shark of PulseX if you exclude the OA. This is not including the OA addresses.
Yeah, right around there.
Okay.
Close.
Yeah, I just wanted to say earlier that, and it's still valid, you know, you guys have been talking about this the whole time in a way. For everybody who's listening, you know, when you buy into the UFO and you provide LP, or you buy into PTGC and you're providing, you know, your money in the liquidity pool that way, no matter how you're contributing to this system, you're contributing to a system where your contribution makes the LP pool bigger, which makes it when PulseX does, or when PulseChain does a 100x, it makes it so more value flows across that pool. And so what I'm trying to get at is that you're not just like, okay, so some people are like doing this on their own, trading throughout the day, making their own decisions, where this system, we have a wallet or you know, the DAO, call it a wallet, if you will, you know, that's way bigger than an individual. So an individual can only, you know, achieve so much on their own, but the DAO can achieve, you know, can make the same moves and achieve way more, right? That's kind of my point. And so with people like Moon King that we can follow and follow his moves and stuff, like we can basically take everything that he has learned and that he teaches and put it in practical application, put it to use and make plays and continue growing the system. And I think it's just going to keep growing, you know, with the DAO especially, it's just going to keep growing and growing and growing and, you know.
And then you have guys that are incentivized, you know, they're experts at crypto and they're incentivized to grow their own bags and everybody else's bags if they wanted to, you know, consider that they had that burden as well, you know, to make wise use of DAO money.
Especially on something like Hex. Because I came across this week where people are locked in on like 10-year hex positions and they're seeing other things like PTGC emerging and they can't move their money over without taking a massive hit. And so they're locked into these things, these decisions that they made last bull run, and they're still locked into them. And now their thing is, you know, there was other tokens like that other people are participating in. And basically they were saying that, you know, it's going to be a hate cycle because the things that they're locked into from last cycle are not the thing, you know, not printing all-time highs. And the things that they talked bad about and didn't get into are printing new all-time highs, i.e. PulseChain, right? And so, yeah, I guess there's a lot of people out there that are like locked into stakes from last cycle and they can't move even though they want to.
I guess they're just going to have to be patient, and I'm one of them. I've got a ladder.
Is that right?
I've got a hex staking ladder, yeah.
So my point there was that if you're a hex staker and you see PTGC pop off and you can't move your money over, but you still want to put money into PTGC backing hex, you know, like you were saying, people want to pump their own assets. So by PTGC backing hex, they're effectively backing hex in a way. And so when they buy into PTGC, they feel like they're already supporting a bag they already own. Right?
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think that's probably true for a lot of hex stakers who do buy into PTGC. They're probably in a scenario similar like that or experienced it or something, you know?
Sure.
But hey, is it 6:59? Oh, hang on, I got a text.
You must be in the same time zone.
We are. We are ready. Okay, I got to go onboard a couple guys.
Yay.
So I got to drop.
All right. We'll give you leave for onboarding, man.
Yeah. 2 guys. They're very curious. I told them, they were like, where would I be right now if I would have put money in $1,000 in when you told me to last time? And I was like, you would pretty much be at a 12x right now. And he was like, a 12x? Are you kidding me? And he's just like, he was so like kind of just upset with himself, you know, that he didn't make the move. And yeah,
it happens.
So here we are. And the very next day, he wants to help me.
Well, good. Because I think we'd all agree we have a number of X's left.
Oh, okay. So check this out. It's something I was thinking about today. Ethereum did between 1,200 to 1,400 X's on its first bull run. So if PulseChain accomplishes 1/14 of that, and does a 100x, that will be a 100x to our entire system.
Minimum.
Yeah. Plus, it's PulseChain does 100x. We automatically do a 100x, but then we also have the revenue from the bots at, moving those kinds of amounts of money around on those size of liquidity pools. And it's just going to be enormous, man. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
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 We're going to have a conference or something to get together and celebrate.
Yeah. I'll wear a mask.
You'll wear a mask?
Yeah, I'll wear a mask. I'll wear like a panda head or something.
Okay. No, you wear the funny glasses with the mustache. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah. Exactly. I'll wear that under the panda mask.
Yeah.
Got 2 layers of protection.
There you go.
But yeah, no, I think, there's not many projects that have a DAO, and every single one of them that does is showing really good sustainability characteristics. And I think the DAO is just so fundamentally important, so fundamentally important. But yeah, I gotta go over my neighbors. So I'll see you guys later.
All right. Thanks for stopping in, Ty.
Yep, see you, Ty.
See ya.
I'm gonna talk about a few of those points that you're bringing up. So thanks for leading the conversation.
Oh, cool. No problem. Just things that have come across out of conversations from the last week or so. Cool. I also started a TikTok account, so everybody here, please go follow me on TikTok so I can start live streaming over there. Sorry.
I'll reach out for a link.
Okay, thank you.
I was about to say we're all old, Ty. We don't have TikTok. But I guess
well, I'm gonna try to reach a new audience, one that we haven't reached yet. I think it's gonna be pretty cool.
Yeah, if anyone in here has a TikTok, follow Ty.
Yeah, that would be great. I'd really appreciate that.
Or what's your name on TikTok?
Yeah, it's like TI_PTGC.
Cool.
Okay.
Thank you. But yeah, I think it's gonna be great. So yeah. All right. I'll see you guys later.
See ya.
All right. See ya. The first one that I wanted to talk about, I was letting him finish, but I was listening to him about the hex thing, and I think a lot of people who have hex stakes that don't want to close them by the situation of the creation of PulseChain and the fact that Hex is bonded to a few other assets now. The assets that Hex is heavily bonded with now, like pTGC, there's a few other ones on chain as well. Hex is now exposed to the growth of these other assets, and the more growth now that the liquidity pools are getting larger, but like pTGC and UFO's liquidity pools are quite large with Hex. As pTGC is more successful, the Hex community actually directly gets to be exposed to part of those gains based on the portion pTGC is of Hex's liquidity web. So just like how we have a liquidity web that we've established, Hex has its own liquidity web that, users of Hex and other assets like the pTGC community have exposed Hex to. So as pTGC grows, as pTGC becomes more successful, as it becomes more deflationary, good assets bonded together technically make better assets because they're actually helping each other work in a positive direction. So as Hex moves up, which it hasn't done too much of, obviously in the last 4 years, but I believe it's going to have a nice run here soon. This is going to directly help pTGC due to us being connected with it. But it works the other way as well. As pTGC becomes sustainable, as it does its own X's, it's also helping increase the value of Hex along with the other pairs. I think a lot of people don't understand this concept quite yet, but as PulseChain evolves, as PulseChain becomes successful, they can actually see this in real time now that our liquidities are starting to get bigger and bigger. I think we will start to get good adoption even from holders who aren't directly exposed to pTGC, but are directly exposed to assets that we're bonded to. Because by being bonded to assets and us doing well, it's actually going to help the sustainability and the price appreciation of those assets. They don't even have to directly own pTGC. So I think that's going to be something that kind of happens over time. Right off the bat, I think it kind of shocks people and they're like, almost mad at it because they're not exposed. But when they realize like, oh, we actually are exposed indirectly through these liquidity webs. And as they get larger, they actually own more of our liquidity. And then in turn, when they get larger, this helps drag the price up of the assets that I'm specifically in. And you don't actually even have to be a specific holder of these assets. Very similar to where if someone we onboard, like Ty was just doing, he's onboarding someone specifically to pTGC, it sounds like right now, but they're actually directly exposed to the success of Hex, PulseX as well. So they don't have to be negative about the success or winning days of Hex or PulseX because they directly get exposed to the gains of those assets, which is pretty cool. It's like a team effort kind of thing. You get to cheer some other tokens on, even on some days that maybe aren't the best for you, but best for others. It's still a great day for you because the value of your assets increasing.
Yep, that's true. And you don't even need to have exposure to both pTGC and UFO, because if you only had exposure to pTGC, because pTGC is most thickly bonded with UFO, you automatically, by proxy, have exposure to UFO.
Yep. Yeah. If UFO is successful, it drags pTGC up. If pTGC is successful, it drags UFO up. Obviously, another awesome thing about UFO is it's buying and burning pTGC. So as volume flows in, yesterday was a great example. It was a pretty low volume day for UFO, very little human interaction. It was kind of very level on chain. And then value started flowing over the bridge and it kind of got people excited and people started moving some value around. And then within like an hour, UFO had an additional $100,000 of volume. And this wasn't from human interaction. This was just arbitrage bots fixing pairs because humans were moving tokens around. And we have so much liquidity on chain that when they move those values around, portions of it need to utilize our liquidity and we generate revenue off of that utility.
Yep. I mean, yeah, pTGC right now in the last 24 hours has had $311,000 in volume. And that's very decent compared to the last few months. And I'm pulling up UFO here in a second. 73,000 for UFO, 24-hour volume. And that's an improvement.
Yeah, that's definitely an improvement to where it was at the all-time lows. Yesterday, I think it got up to like 130, 140, something like that. Right after the volume of people getting excited of value bridging in.
You're talking about UFO. Yeah, it was 131.
Yeah. So the other thing that Ty brought up that I think is very important about our ecosystem and very important to just understand in this space is in this space, the seasons, right? People say alt season, meme season, Bitcoin season, ETH season. that's always evolving, along with the cycles always evolving from when people are rotating into alts, ETH, Bitcoin, stables, bull market, bear markets. There's the micro cycles too, the pumps and the retracements within 4-year cycles. There's also the situation that we're kind of getting into right now where a lot of people don't even think the bear markets will be extreme as they once were, because we're getting a lot more mainstream adoption. The United States is really getting behind crypto, giving it a lot of clarity, adopting it a lot and getting behind it a lot. But the truth is, a lot of assets that are getting built today are getting built for the environment for today. They're getting built specifically for what people are looking for in today's market. And the whole design is structured towards what is today and not what is a month from now, what is 6 months from now, what is 1 year from now. And what's really cool about the DAO situation, this is some of the largest protocols on Ethereum have decentralized governance in a way behind them. Even the Ethereum Foundation is very decentralized in a way. Like, I've specifically even heard Vitalik in a way say, like, I don't control Ethereum. The foundation controls, the developers, the builders of Ethereum control Ethereum more than me. And this is very, very important, in my opinion, for long-term success, because the environment that we are today is not the environment that we're going to have 4 years from now, 8 years from now, 12 years from now. And like Vitalik even talks about that, he's building Ethereum to live longer than himself, right? So we are actually directly exposed to this good vision, this amazing vision of Vitalik and his team, and or the foundation, that they're trying to build this thing that lasts, as they even claim, rises and falls of empires, right? They want this to last forever. And since PulseChain is a fork of this, technically PulseChain can last for the same time period. But 5, 10, 20 years down the road, if you're not able to adjust and you don't have metrics within your code to pivot with the cycle after cycle after cycle, because they will change, narratives will change, good products will come out, you want to be able to pivot with these cycles. And the DAO gives us a great way, in a decentralized way, to constantly adjust, not the protocol, but where revenue is being used, right? And I think that's going to bring a lot of success to a store value system over the long term.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I love the DAO. I love the flexibility it gives pTGC.
Yeah, that was about it. I think it was a great point he brought up. It's not necessarily looking for every project that launches, because let's be honest, 99% of projects fail within days.
Yeah.
But it is important for our own community, our communities, our community constantly looking out for great assets that we believe are long-term, multi-cycle assets that we believe are going to have a large impact here to PulseChain. And they can even be assets on other chains like ETH, for an example, or Bitcoin. Like, we believe these aren't going anywhere. They're multi-cycle systems. We believe they're massive source of value. We can actually pivot over time and build up liquidity with these assets.
Yeah.
Or possibly Richard comes out with a stable coin at some point, or, so on. So we have no idea what 4 years from now looks like. Yeah. And, but we do have the tools to take action on whatever that environment is.
Yes. And a lot, some of these tokens that you're talking about that are good, that would be good for the DAO to decide to bond to, they may not come around very often. They
don't come around often. That's what a lot of people need to kind of realize is long-term sustainable systems that have a reason to exist and a utility that is actually a net positive for this space is not often at all, right? And I think definitely keeping our eye out for those kind of products, long-term cycle systems that we think are trying to make a difference and improve the cryptocurrency space as a whole is, obviously number one goal.
Yes. I think somebody put out a wanted poster or something for one of those tokens earlier today. Do you remember anything like that?
Yeah. Let's hear it.
The only problem is, that would be it has to be out for a whole year. You know what I mean? So we wouldn't be getting our nice little shark positions or whale position on that one.
A lot of people kind of think that way. And I agree, right? You might not get as big of a position if you took action on it early. But the truth is
there you go.
Imagine finding the right assets even a year after they've launched.
Like pTGC and UFO.
Like pTGC and UFO. If you find the right asset, you do not need to find it within the first day or the first week or the first month. It's actually sometimes nice to find them a little bit later because you've actually been able to see these systems work and you've actually seen that the code's battle tested. You've actually gotten it tested on chain for years, make sure everything's working. You let the community develop to where it's not necessarily when you take action day one or week one or sometimes even month one. Like, you don't know how everything's going to develop over the long term. By watching something and letting it develop, the market always provides opportunities for the most part to get in. Market's very volatile. Humans are very emotional. When things go down, they get scared out of their bags. So if there is a product that comes up, even if we don't take action on it the first week, doesn't mean we can't put it on our radar and DCA into an amazing system. Look at like we've been doing with Hex, right? Like Hex, we weren't able to grab within the first week like a super large position of any kind with a small amount of money. PulseX had a sacrifice. We weren't able to scoop a super large position for a very little amount of money, but we've been DCAing into these good sustainable products for a long term. And next thing you know, we have $1 million, $2 million liquidity pools with these assets before they even make their decent size run. Right?
Absolutely. So the Twitter post that I was referring to, I posted up this afternoon. And the post is, and I'll read the image in a second, but the alien sheriff's hunt is on. And this is for the audience. The rules are tough, but the prize is real. Find me one token on PulseChain that can outgun pTGC. Bring me your best shot. Now, the poster is wanted, dead or alive. One token on PulseChain that has outperformed pTGC, but it must meet criteria. Has done more X's in Pulse, measured in Pulse terms and USD, measured from the second week to the all-time high. More X's. Pays APY, has no admin keys, one is 1 year or older, and has $10 million in LP, $5 million of which has to be burned. And the reward is 10 million PLS. Sign my name to it. And it's pinned on my Twitter. We'll see if anybody brings me a ransom or whatever you want to call it. You know, how long should I leave that? How long do you think it will be before anybody brings me something that I would have to pay my $10 million in PLS to them? You know, is it going to happen this cycle at all?
Yeah, that's interesting. If it doesn't happen this cycle, and if PulseChain is successful, I don't think it can happen any other cycle because I think pTGC will have such an advantage over anything that launches in the future just because of us getting these easy X's at the beginning of the chain. This is super beneficial for being in the pTGC and just being in PulseChain in general is being part of it before it makes that massive move. You actually can have a very small amount of value in one thing. And if this blockchain is successful, that small amount of money can very easily turn into a very large amount of money that people who find it later would be very thankful to have. And technically to get that amount, they'll probably have to DCA for maybe years to get that same size position. You watch people with BNB, ETH, Bitcoin, you know, some people's goal is to get, you know, 1 Bitcoin. Where people used to just mine Bitcoin, 1 Bitcoin a day. But nowadays, you know, 10 years flash forward, 13 years flash forward, people are willing to work on DCAing into a system for 2 years to acquire that 1 Bitcoin.
Right. And this poster would speak to people that value more X's, pays APY, no admin keys, longevity in 1 year or older, and that thick LP, $10 million in LP, burned LP in $5 million. That's all of those are very key points for any project that you're looking into. And you could just pick one out. You could disregard the APY, the admin keys, the longevity, and all the LP, and just go for the X's. But then you're introducing a lot of risk to your bag. I think I'll have to think it through. But if you start eliminating any one of those, you're introducing a level of risk. I'm guessing. I'm not sure about this. I have to think it through. What do you think? Well, like pays APY, you could throw that one out. But I like APY. I like cash flow.
Yeah, I think APY is going to be a big thing this cycle, right? Like what crypto offers is a very unique situation where you actually can have self-custody of an asset and earn APY. And I think the products who give APY are going to start to really stand out, especially if the APY is backed by real value generation like our product is, because that means large players can technically hold up the price of the asset and take profits or, use the passive income to pay bills or better their life in real life without ever touching the initial tokens that they purchased, which again kind of helps hold the price up. And what do we know about crypto? We know buying and holding up the price of the asset is one of the most important things for a price chart's growth. And obviously large players in a system want the price chart to look great because that overall increases the value of their whole position and usually increases the APY as well. So by them holding up their asset, if it's an APY system, and if other people are incentivized to hold up the asset's price as well, it's increasing everyone's APY and is a better tool for onboarding as well because you have a good looking chart and APY written within the code. Big players that bring large value in want little perks like that for the amount of value they're bringing in.
Yeah, and I think there will be some big players toward the end of PulseChain's run that are going to be looking for a place to park their money during the bear cycle. And I'm sure they're going to be looking at the greatest currencies as an option.
Yeah, that's the goal, right? Is to build a product that has good utility, a reason to exist, and good product market fit. If our product can offer the features that big players are looking for in as far as a decentralized product goes, I don't see a reason why we can't stand out in that sector. We have we're a hyper-deflationary system, so less supply is in circulation every single day. Our community is super strong. We know in crypto this is very important. A very strong community, people who are educating and working for their bags pretty much for free, besides the price appreciation of the asset that they're holding is pretty much the payday. Luckily with this system, you can get an APY off of it too, to where you technically don't even need to tap into your initial to get that payday, but it also has the APY built into the code. I believe we're on one of the most decentralized blockchains that exist. Hopefully some privacy features come soon. Obviously the price appreciation is very important to big players. They don't want to store multiple millions of dollars in an asset and not have good price appreciation. But if our asset can consistently show better price appreciation to the other big assets that exist, this is very, very powerful, because a lot of people will compare an asset like pTGC to a smaller asset, right? Maybe a new asset that pops up today, and they're like, wow, look at this small asset's up 3x today, and your asset is only up 10%. But you have to realize that big players can't get into that small asset. There's not enough liquidity even for that whale to get into the product. So they're not necessarily looking at those small meme tokens that usually turn into rug pulls one way or another. They're looking for the systems that have been out for 3 years, the ones that have $30 million plus in liquidity, very big communities, and then the metrics that impress them like APY and deflation, etc. And I think pTGC and UFO can very much stand out as far as a great product in that class. And that's what we're aiming for, right? Like, we're not aiming for a new meme token that launches every single day. Obviously, anyone can go and do that on pump.tires, which there is a client for that. There is people all day long on Solana that are willing to throw $50 at that, trying to do a quick 2-hour flip into more money, right? There's a huge market for that. I'm not bashing that at all. The crypto has obviously shown to have a huge gambling side to it, but there's also a very large amount of people within crypto that are looking for great places to store very large amounts of value. This is why people are bringing their money to crypto. Most countries, governments, their currencies are inflating constantly, and these users need a great place to store it to where, whatever country they're in doesn't have control over their finances.
Yeah. Those are good points. Does anybody else care to come up and speak? I think somebody was going to come up tonight and talk. Let's see if I can find out who it was. See if we can find them in the chat.
Yeah, if anyone listening has any questions, comments, it doesn't need to be just about pTGC and UFO. It can be about PulseChain in general also. Obviously, no other tokens besides Richard's tickers and pTGC and UFO, but I am open to PulseChain conversation in general, Richard conversation in general. And if anyone wants to talk about the value that's been bridged over, any speculations, fun ideas of how you think that's going to be used, I'm pretty much open to have any conversation. This space is for you guys. Me and Banana have had the conversation together many, many times. So if you want to add to it, please come up and ask your questions.
Yeah.
What's up, Extra PLSX?
There we go.
Hey guys, what's going on? How you guys doing this evening?
Good. How are you
Good,
doing?
yeah. Good. I was on RH Max's Hex conference earlier, so figured I'd jump on here and talk a little bit more, I guess.
How'd the conference go?
It was good. I like any enthusiasm that we can build up now, because it's like, why not, right? Like, we're in times where like we're up only for a little bit, so let's make the most out of it.
Yeah, I was just recently looking at like the week chart of Pulse, Hex, and PulseX, and we have a pretty good consistent group of green candles on the weekly. So I think even though the dopamine's wearing off a little bit for some users, we should remember that's, working in the right direction. And with ETH kind of looking pretty primed and some good activity on chain for PulseChain, everything's kind of lining up nicely along with the marketing coming soon.
Not to mention, I was looking at UFO in particular because, UFO is my favorite. It's really been holding up, even with people taking small profits and whatnot. And that's very telling in my opinion.
Yeah, UFO holds up very, very strongly. I think the supply in that last run up and then dip got really, really well distributed. There obviously is some big players that can kind of do a couple hits, but really the selling I see is very minor in general, and the buyers, obviously are there as well. But the liquidity is so stout compared to any sell pressure I see that really any sell pressure that comes just doesn't really move it. And I'm just excited for, the market to kind of pick up, for the assets that are in that liquidity to revalue, to the buy and burn of UFO kind of get kicked back in again. And then whatever new users come in the near future, just be able to, get a position on what I believe to be a great asset at probably a still amazing discount in general.
I'm curious to hear what you guys think with the recent on-chain data that shows that there's over $5 million worth of value bridged in between stables and ETH. Do you think we see more coming through the bridge, not necessarily buying the coins and stuff, but sort of just stacking up? Or do you think like they're going to start buying cores like pretty soon?
I wasn't really thinking there was going to be more. I assume there'll be more coming in. I don't know if it's going to be like obvious all at one time on a slow day like it was. I'm hoping, the more that gets moved in the future, maybe gets more blended in with natural people coming in, because I am kind of assuming that's not a natural person just because of the tornado cash situation and stuff like that. But and it was like just very on a slow day, like, wow, a very large chunk of money all at the same time, all interacting with tornado cash. Like, obviously doesn't look like multiple people. I'm hoping in the future, if any more value comes from that entity, there's other value kind of coming in heavily as well. So it's kind of, more blended in. But I think it's waiting currently for the market to pick back up, but just getting everything ready. If you had something important happening, usually prep for that thing. You don't just wake up that day and just wing it. Some people will just wing it, but a lot of times if you have some important event in your life coming up, you do what you can to prep for that event. So when the day comes, you don't have all the nonsense to do before that exact thing that you're going to do. So for me, I think he's just kind of getting all his pieces set in place. So for whatever he's waiting for, if it's ETH breaking all-time high and kind of going on a nice little run and activity happening on Ethereum in general, or just retail starting to make its way into crypto, maybe it's this marketing thing he has. I think he's just kind of getting that stuff ready for whatever key indicator or set of key indicators he's waiting for to hit. He's just ready to go.
Yeah, I think the marketing is going to really, I think it's going to catch a lot of us off guard, just because I think for the longest time, red candles bring on like this depressive mindset where it's like all hope is lost eventually and whatever. And then you finally find the bottom, and then you just start an uptrend and retracing from there. So I think for the most part, the marketing is going to be very concise and calculated and planned out. And I think in the wave or the fashion of these green candles, it's going to go in reminiscence of what's going to happen on the outside. Like, are people getting these, whatever devices they are? What are they? You know what I mean? Like, are they like, oh my gosh, like this is cool, this is crazy? Or is it something like more of a market, like a quick marketing, like, hey, check out PulseChain on a little digital screen or whatever? I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just speculating because I'm hearing like other communities, like in Solana, they're starting to ramp up the whole phone and hardware wallet combination thing. Not saying it's that, but there are like, people are starting to get active in deploying out some of these device things. So who knows? Like I said, it could catch us all off guard. Just us as a community alone can take us up to stack because of it. We, bleed each other out eventually. And then, who knows, maybe some of the funds that come over through Tornado Cash or whatever, they start getting deployed into Hex heavy, PulseX heavy. And then the whole ecosystem just, explodes. And the sell pressure that we would have worried about is not going to be as relevant, I think, as we think it is now.
Yeah, I think the sell pressure is very, very minor compared to actual real adoption to this chain. I think Richard could obviously absorb any sell pressure with a very small portion of his portfolio, along with actual real adoption of this chain. If you kind of think back to Hex, like there was obviously people who had very, very large Hex bags at, they still have large Hex bags at 1 cent, 2 cent, 5 cents. But the amount of onboarding that was going on via those green candles, I was kind of talking about this other day, like how much do you think the Pulse chain or the Hex community increased when Hex started to actually go on a run? I was saying, I bet you the Hex community increased by 50x like last bull run. if we have a 50x increase or at least a 20x increase to the PulseChain community this bull run, the amount of self pressure compared to a 20x increase of users is like nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I agree, Zen. I mean, I got in 4 years ago when Hex was 17 cents and rode all the way up to 55 cents. And the amount of noise and the amount of attention that was on the Hex ecosystem was white hot for a really, really long period of time. It was over a period of 4 weeks. So I think we're seeing the beginning of what I think will be the perfect storm of the marketing, whatever these devices, whatever they may be. And then the money being bridged over, let's just call it the market maker, bringing over money over the bridge. And then just, I think that if RH were to be active again and start streaming, and then we just have consistently have green candles and growth, I think that will bring so much attention over to the chain. And I think that the issue that we're having right now is, I know, Zen, that you talk about is the same. We're recycling the same money over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. But once you get in, you bridge in. It's not a large amount of money that even needs to be bridged in, or a large amount of new users that need to be bridged in, and then it just changes the game completely, because we're dealing on such a small scale right now. So I just, I think that every time we have a pullback, people still panic. And I guess that's just human nature, and that's just never not going to be. But I remember this happening too 4 years ago, exactly at this time, when, there would be a slight pullback and ETH would go down 5% or 7%. And people are like, the bull market's over, it's all over, and I just think that you just can't listen to the noise, and you have to have your plan, because this is the time where generational wealth can be made, but it also can be lost if you start to panic. So you have to have a plan, and you need to zoom out and look at what's happening on a macro level. Also what's happening within our community. There's a lot of good action, a lot of building, a lot of people coming out of the woodworks who have been silent for over a year. And if you really look at what's happening and just look at it objectively and keep your head on straight, then I think that, you can really win in this cycle. And I think that if you really look, especially at a community like ours, and I think one of the advantages that we have is that not only the consistency, like it's with religious consistency that Zen and you and Prairie Banana show up, and Mando, I can't tell you how much I appreciate. Even though I can't always speak, I always listen in, and your messaging is very consistent, but you also bring in enough, topical information of what's happening on a macro level in the market, and you just keep everyone calm, and you also just keep preaching the message, which needs to be, I think, because this ecosystem is quite complex, and to understand the whole tokenomics and what really makes pTGC and UFO work, it takes a little bit of time to understand it. So I think the more that we can, you guys continue what you're doing, which is so amazing. And I think that we also need to, as community members, branch out and figure out how we're going to keep messaging and keep the word out there, because once it is understood, then I think that it can go on a really massive tear, just even on top of what's just going to happen without anyone involved. So I just feel like this is a time where people need to focus and really look at this opportunity. And it could be, a lot of people talk about this could be the last big bull run that we see in our lifetimes. Or I don't think our kids will have this opportunity. We have this opportunity. So it's yours to win or to lose. And that's pretty much where I stand right now.
Yeah, thanks for coming up, Stylist. I was actually kind of looking at Hex's chart against Ethereum's chart last cycle, just because I believe Richard was so successful last cycle with his marketing and his planning. Like we were just talking about, like he went from whatever amount of Hex users he had before the green candle started. By the end of that big push, I truthfully think he probably 20 to 50x the holders of Hex. It was a very successful marketing push. The Hex community was very active on socials, YouTube, etc. It onboarded a ton of people. Like I got onboarded around a cent by someone who was already kind of doing decently well in Hex, and that's how I found out about it. So like green candles, then he wasn't working at the time and said like, hey, yeah, I heard you're in crypto. I'm not working right now because of this. You should look into it. That's what put me down the rabbit hole. And I kind of got lucky to find it a little bit earlier than some. But my point of it was Hex didn't really even start to move off of a penny until ETH was decently far past the previous all-time highs of the previous cycle, right? So if you look at where we're at right now, ETH still has not passed all-time highs.
Yeah.
So Hex didn't really even make its run last cycle until ETH legitimately passed its all-time highs. So this is a big thing I'm kind of looking at, because Richard was very successful in his marketing last time, and Hex didn't really have its big green candles until after ETH made its new all-time high. So I think it's a lot for our community to expect something different. I think we should actually be expecting, and we can't expect anything, right? Don't assume anything, but it's a good reminder for me, and I think for our community, to say like, hey, everything is still on course for exactly what happened last time. Nothing's changed. There was no drastic movements before ETH went far into all-time highs last cycle. So let's kind of let ETH play out and see where we are at that point. I bet you will rewind when ETH is past all-time highs, and we're going to be like, hey guys, we're like pretty decently past SAC price now. Like, this is kind of cool.
Yeah, it's rhyming for sure from 4 years ago. I just feel like it's, you know, I just, and energetically, I just feel how you can feel the OA's involvement, and, you know, the momentum is building, and then there'll be a point where it just goes, and it happens so quickly you won't even understand what hit you, and you will have missed it. So you have to be positioned, because that's how it happened last time. It was like all of a sudden it was like 17 to 45, like an overnight.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, I've missed
that.
it.
That was another big thing, right? Is so the Hex push happened after ETH broke its all-time high, but Hex topped before the ETH top. So that's how quick it happened.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So it's very tight. I'm hoping with PulseChain involved, it's a little bit more, you know, less extreme, and hopefully the downside's less extreme too. I'm sure everyone hopes that. But I'm hoping it's a little longer as well. But we have to remember how quick that move was last time, which for pTGC is great, right? Like, this volatile situation, like, that could be massive value generation for our ecosystem. So as far as value generation, like, that volatile, like, 3-month period could be massive for pTGC, because then we'll use that value that we generate to make our system more sustainable, just like we've been doing. And that's kind of why it's been sustainable, even though we've been on this, you know, kind of down escalator for a little bit. But in a perfect world, I think I would like it spread out a little bit wider to where it's a little less extreme. We don't need, you know, that 100x in a matter of 3 months, right? Like, I'm fine with it being a little bit less drastic and a little bit more spread out for hopefully less of a massive pullback. But definitely be prepared for it, because that's what happened last time. And again, like, what Richard did so well the first time, he increased the holders, in my opinion, of Hex by 20-50x. That's huge. Can you imagine being in the situation where our PulseChain community is 20 to 50 times larger than it is today, 6 months from now?
I think it's going to happen. I think that's a conservative estimate what's going to happen. And,
yeah,
you know, to your point, Zen, about how quickly the price increase can happen, and then exponentially how much faster and more extreme that will be for pTGC and UFO. I just caution people who are out chasing shiny objects. Why? Like, why would you do that now? Why would you risk what you have? It's shocking to me.
Yeah, I think it's obviously just the quick X's, right? pTGC's gotten to a size where I think the X's will be very, very quick, and very decently sustainable, but at the right time, to where gambling in the meme coin sector works very, very well, especially in a bear market where the larger cap coins can't get the economic energy to really make massive new moves. But you need to remember, I heard from a very smart person who's been very successful in crypto, been in Bitcoin for a long time, is when you're in a bull market, retail does not go into the 100K market cap meme tokens. They go into the larger market cap alt tokens because those are the ones that get their attention. They do not make it all the way to the trenches. So when retail flows in, they flow into like tokens that are more like pTGC size and like Pepe size, right? These are the ones that like get their attention. They do not make it usually all the way down to the trenches. When they make it all the way down to the trenches, that's because the bear market has came and they're like looking for a way to get their money back.
Yeah.
That's a super good point. Yeah, man.
It's what happens, right? Like
that's where I went.
Yeah, it's the same story on repeat. People get attracted to these big tokens like pTGC or Hex, right? And then the natural market cycle comes, and people are in crypto now, and they have all this time. So then they kind of go deeper and deeper and deeper. And once they go deeper is kind of where they find themselves. And you can make a lot of gains in a bear market finding that next gem. But the thing is, when retail flows in, they're not flowing into crypto for finding that next gem.
Right.
They're getting into crypto because they're hearing about that gem that's already to a 500 million market cap or a $1 billion market cap. That's what's actually dragging them into crypto. My example is Hex from last cycle. Hex dragged in a lot of people into crypto, and they actually fell in love with crypto and enjoyed it. But you have to kind of remember, you can make good money in meme tokens in any market. But if you're looking for the assets that retail is going to flow into, it's the ones that are kind of got their foundation under them already.
That's exactly where I started. I started with the larger cap tokens. And then during the bear market is when I discovered the new projects and the smaller caps.
Yeah, you'll find that story pretty much. That's 95% of users is that exact timeline is something of somewhat larger size. Bitcoin, Ethereum attracts them. Then they start dabbling into alts, but the larger alts, the Pepes or the Shibs or the chain links or, the recognizable ones that have advertised to over and over and over again as a leverage and then they get into those larger, and then they resort in the bear market usually to chasing some of the newer lower cap tokens. Because in a bear market, those are really the only places to make good gains is those speculative new assets. And if you find the right one, if you can find that golden goose early in a bear market, you obviously won the lottery. If you can find that right one, which actually becomes into a multi-cycle system, in a way, you don't even need to find another one again.
Yep.
It just takes one to change your family's life forever.
Yeah. Yep.
What up, dudes?
What's up, Trevor?
How you doing, man?
Doing good.
I figured I would jump up here. You were up here by your lonely for a little bit.
Yeah, I'm actually stoked today. I got a couple of friends coming up and hanging out.
I know, right?
What's been new with you?
Oh, sorry, my mic got turned off. I'm good, man. Living life. Just one day at a time over here. But no, I earlier you guys were talking about you were talking about like different the waves and the narratives, and like especially I know that everyone.
I think we lost your mic again, Trevor.
I'm not sure why that keeps happening. Literally, I'm just. Hey, Zen, I'm going to step down and then request right back up.
Okay, come back.
I hate when X does that. Lags sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Actually, it has been behaving very well compared to last year, this time last year. X has improved a lot, I believe.
Yeah, it could just be from my end, I guess, with signal, but sometimes when I do spaces and whatever, sometimes they get rugged.
How about now? Can you hear me? Good.
Yeah, I hear you.
There we go. There we go. But no, what I was saying about like all the now I'm like nervous. I'm like looking at my phone, like making sure my mic's on. But about like the crypto stylist was talking about it too, like the different waves and of narratives, you know. And right now we're all really hyped up about the devices that are coming in and all that kind of stuff, which to my knowledge, I don't have like some insider scoop or anything like that. To my knowledge, they might have hit the port today, actually. So if they're hitting the port today, you're looking at 3, 4, 5 days through customs, which means that, housing and warehousing will happen on Monday, Tuesday, which means distribution should start by next Friday or the following Monday, which like is really, really exciting. But if you've been here a while, like narratives, man, they come and go. And this is just one, in my mind, I actually don't have my hopes up. I mean, I'm so grateful, right, for whatever beneficial person is making these happen, whether it's Richard or a foundation or whatever. I'm pumped on the devices or whatever, but I think it's the start of something cool. I think that these we're going to see price increase, in my opinion, in waves. And this is one of many. I think that, I don't know, man, it's just important to like take a few steps back and look at everything from an aerial perspective. Because these devices, like, dude, devices are not going to save, or make the chain. Like little USB hard drives with a logo on it, or whatever it is. I don't know. But it's going to be awesome, man. Like there's this big marketing push with the devices. And then there's I'm trying to think, there could be SAC funds injected. There could be outside retail that happens. There could be, I don't know. There's so many things that I think that like, I don't know, man. I'm just personally like the last like maybe like 3 or 4 weeks or whatever, I've been probably more bullish than I have been since like pretty much the top in 2020. And this is wild. I think we're on the cusp of something pretty amazing. But yeah, as far as the narratives go, I'm excited about the devices. I'm excited about that. I think it's going to be awesome, but I think we're going to see these hypes come in waves. And before you know it, we'll be looking back and going, remember those devices? Oh, that was crazy. Do you remember whenever we got listed on that exchange? Oh, that was crazy. Do you remember when Kim Kardashian talked about PulseChain? Oh gosh, that was crazy. Do you remember whenever, you know what I mean? Like everything is going to come in these big waves. And I saw it last cycle. And I think that that's exactly kind of how it's going to play out this time. And Richard, of all people, man, he's a master when it comes to like piggybacking on these marketing waves. Like he's so good at it. And I think he knows what he's doing. I think there's a lot of things that we don't know that are up his sleeve too. And then on top of that, lastly, and then I'll shut up. To your point just now, Gray, like when you're talking about how retail doesn't necessarily come into these little, micro cap tokens, it's so true, man. Like as you were even talking about that, I was like, it was weird, man. I was just sitting here listening and I was having like flashbacks to last cycle. And I was that guy. I'm like, oh, I just smashed it on Bitcoin. I smashed it on Ethereum, And I was like, I was like, I don't want to go into these little bitty things, but is there anything, it was Polkadot, it was Cardano, it was, I'm trying to think, SHIB, killed it on SHIB, just these medium cap things. And to be quite frank with you, like, this is going to sound ridiculous, but I was new, relatively new back then. And I was looking for a cool logo. And I would click the ticker on X and see if there was a bunch of people talking about it. That's why, not why, but that's one of the reasons I believe that pTGC is going to do really, really great things. is because people like it has such a solid foundation. The community's there, the history's there. It makes logical sense that someone would, that Trevor in 2020 would, quite frankly, buy the top. But like, it makes logical sense, So I don't know, man. I just wanted to jump in here. I haven't spoke on a pTGC space in a minute, man. But I'm really, really bullish, dude. I'm so glad we're all here, and it just feels like every, whether it's pTGC, UFO, dude, go look at Pulse, go look at PulseX, like go look at Hex. It feels like everything's printing a big old bull flag right now. Everything, and this is going to be really exciting. But yeah, I just wanted to offer my 2 cents there, man. I really believe that the narrative waves are going to be impressive, and they're going to come in probably if I had to guess, probably month increments. And who knows, man? We could see see a slightly extended cycle into 2026. We don't know. But anyway, boys, yeah, I just want to jump up here and say hi. That's it.
Yeah, thanks for coming up, Trevor. Yeah, I couldn't agree more, right? Like, I think you're 100% there. Is the devices are just the start, right? And then the devices are going to be kind of happening as our initial green candles, which will definitely, I think, switch the morale. I think morale is getting better here on PulseChain, because we all know a couple months ago it was getting crazy sad for a little bit. And the morale is coming back, but with some devices coming out, and let's say we get to 2x stack price, which really is only 4x from here. It probably only takes $4 million net positive coming over that bridge, injecting into PulseChain to make that happen, which is like nothing. There's literally that just came over the bridge yesterday, could be used at any moment. And morale can just change within seconds. People could start YouTubing again when green candles start coming. Everyone's going to come out of the woodworks and turn on their camera again, start doing some YouTube. When retail's looking for tokens, this is pretty much the playbook that happened last time for Hex, is the Hex community, in which now is the PulseChain community, which, again, let's remind ourselves, is 20x increase since last cycle. I think they're going to have a good control over YouTube, over Twitter. And I think
totally. One of the things I started doing, just because I didn't want to, and this might be, whatever, but one of the things I started doing maybe about 3 or 4 months ago is I started taking notes on my iPhone. Like I put the date, and I talk about how I'm feeling and what the markets are doing, what I'm believing. And it's wild. Like, I'm looking back at my notes now, and I'm seeing old narratives that have come and go already. And it's only been a couple months. And like, when I'm done with this bull, I can't wait to go through that note, dude. I can't wait, because what I'm getting at is there's so many narratives, whether it's the devices, whether it's celebrities talking about a token, whether it's Richard showing up in the United States and doing a podcast tour, whether it's, who knows, but there's so many different narratives. And I just have to piggyback on what you were saying earlier, man, that there's going to be a lot of people that rotate and are looking for not speculative assets, but just solid communities to kind of get their beaks wet a little bit. And I think this is, like, pTGC is one of them. And when they find out about APY, when they find out about the solid community members and how we're all, like, big fans, obviously, of PulseChain and Richard, dude, it just gets even better and better. But yeah, man, I started taking notes on my phone, literally. And now I can just go back and look and be like, oh man, wow, that already passed. I think before I know it, I'll be looking back going, well, we had these devices. Oh, that was crazy. And then the next thing happened. And then the next thing happened, so it's going to be cool.
Yeah, it's almost like you have to just, and Richard probably knows this, like, a lot of things we're talking about, Richard figured this stuff out last cycle, and we're just kind of putting it together now, is you kind of have to keep having something new coming out constantly at this point, because he has to keep people, like, energized and engaged and excited I think another one that a lot of people were leaning on a few weeks ago to a month ago was the Liberty swap thing. That I think you didn't bring that one up, but that was a huge narrative that we're still involved in right now that came out of nowhere. And it re-sparked up an energy of a group of, like, there's some people who have kind of like kept their distance from it because they're waiting for more of a confirmation. But Richard did put it on the website and everything like that. And it's definitely cool. But it is weird how just right at that time, there's these devices popping up. And now there's this cross-chain swap that popped up. And like you said, like, you know, probably a week from now, it's going to be something else that randomly pops up that kind of sparks some energy. And then it'll start to build because, you know, the Liberty swap ain't going anywhere. The devices ain't going anywhere. But now we'll have like a third new fresh thing to talk about and mastermind about. And then a month after that, there's going to be the next and the next and the next. And obviously, we'll kind of look back at price and be like, wow, we've 10x'd. Like, that's
literally, dude. And it's going to happen fast, man. It's going to happen very, very fast, especially in a full-fledged altcoin cycle. You know, it's going to be awesome. But I hope, dude, I want to see one of these devices in real life. Like, I hope I get one. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the bummer is you're gonna know the device already, what it already looks like before you get it. You know.
I know.
But it would be funny if it just showed up at your house, like if this was all just a game and the devices are already out to us, like on this way. And
yeah, it's funny, man. And I will say, dude, it's funny. I got a text today, actually. Here, let me go to my thing and I'll read it word for word. I haven't talked to this guy in so long. But retail's on its way. Like this dude, so the last time we spoke was Friday, May 23rd of basically over a year ago, or a year ago. Yeah. And then he texted me today. And before that, it was a long time. He just randomly texted me, and this is one of my old tour buddies. And he's like, hey, I just wanted to say thanks for the tip on XRP years ago. I forgot that I threw money into it, and I'm up 500%. He said, what's the next crypto I need to buy? You know, and I immediately started, of course, shilling PulseChain, PulseX, and all the Richard tokens and pTGC and everything. But, man, that's I got that text today, you know. I had one of my whatever, it's an ex's relative hit me up recently. You know, the guy's got freaking $500,000 he wants to throw around, and like retail's here. And these guys, you know, to your point earlier, they're not looking for these little bitty things, but they're not looking for something like Bitcoin. You know what I mean? They're looking for that happy medium.
Yeah, they want to make a 10x. That's
totally
what they're looking for. They don't need the 100x, 1000x. They don't want the 50% gain. They want that 10x.
And it's the same. It's just a repeat all over again of last cycle, all over again. The only difference this cycle, I will say, is like the NFT thing is just like not.
Yep.
Nobody cares. At least from what I see. I could be completely wrong. Which I got friends that are still into that stuff, which is totally cool. I just don't see it being like a big narrative.
Yeah, I think maybe that's where maybe I'm contradicting myself a little bit, but instead of the NFT game, I think maybe the pump tires game kind of takes that spot a little bit.
The casino, basically.
The casino a little bit. Yeah, like, hey, I'm just going to get rugged a few times a day and then also make a 2x a few times a day. Or
Literally.
Which is cool, right? Like, it's definitely not like, in my opinion, and some people love the crypto casino. I'm just not much of a gambler myself. And I didn't come to crypto for those reasons, but I definitely think crypto is made for more than being a crypto casino, and that can't be our main use case. I think there's countries out there with inflation rates that people and us, that we bitch about in the United States, but, you know, like in Argentina, there was points where people woke up and their value was worth like 50% less from one day to the next. They woke up and all of their value that they had was worth half. So, and that was just like one day. That doesn't even expand, like, throughout the last 5 years, it's probably been devalued by 10x. So, like, we have it pretty good in the United States, and I felt the need that I had to build a product that hedged myself against inflation here. But we have to remember, pretty much every country out there is a whole lot worse as far as inflation rates and stuff like that. And I think people tend to forget, like, the use cases we actually have with crypto, and by using it to actually build amazing products and working in the right direction there and possibly changing a lot of people's lives. Like right now, I think there's 15,000 people that hold pTGC. I think a good chunk of them are people who have taken profits and probably don't hold anymore, like let's say half. But that means they've already partially changed their life off of pTGC most likely, and we just have moved on without them. But I think pTGC alone has the possibility, with adoption of PulseChain and our own success and our strong community, can start to really change a lot of people's lives, like throughout the whole entire world. And that's kind of cool. Like,
I totally agree, man. I totally agree.
Like, crypto casino is cool too, in a way. Like, I think there's some people out there that definitely get life-changing money by putting $50 in, and next thing you know, they walk away with $10,000 and wherever they live. Like, that could be huge. Sad part is, a lot of times the crypto casino is designed in a way for then you go and gamble it again and lose it all. That's how casinos are set up, is when you win, they want to get you to double down and then get you to lose. To where, by us educating on like real long-term systems that have good product market fit, that aren't just designed around, I like meme coins, but I obviously am not as pro meme coin as most people. I think there's better use cases of cryptography, and we're just getting started for it.
You just got to get rugged a few times, man. That's all. Like I've what's funny is I actually I enjoy pump tires, man. Throwing, $5, $10. You never know, but you gotta know what you're doing, man. You gotta know what you're doing. Cause you'll get burned real fast on some of the speculative stuff. I have, dude. I've gotten rugged. I talked about it on a space recently. It was last cycle, $180,000 gone, single day, gone.
Yeah, that wasn't even pump tires. That was probably just some.
No, that was 2020, dude. I bought some speculative token that morning, and it shot up that very day. Like, it was absolutely insane. And I was at a friend's housewarming party, refreshing my portfolio, and I was like, dude, I have to go home. Like right now, I have to leave. And I left. I opened up my front door, and I opened up my computer. And by the time I could open up my computer, I refreshed my portfolio. 180 went down to 60. 60 went down to 40. 40 went down to 20. I was done. Zero. Like zero. Gone. All it takes is a couple of those, and you'll earn your stripes real quick. But that's why I'm invested in pTGC, because I don't think that's going to happen. But no, man, it's kind of cool. Hey, I will say the cool thing about pump tires is it's like built in such a way where there is some parameters around that. You know what I mean? So I do like that.
I love that part about it, right? The fact that all of those liquidity pools automatically go to our V1 LP pairs on PulseChain.
Absolutely, 100%.
I was just looking at the top volume creators on chain yesterday, and they're showing like 8 tokens, right? Like, and they all had multi-million dollars in volumes, and a good portion of them, I'd say 80% of the tokens on that list were either RH Farms, which are in V1, or Pump Tires tokens from like the meme coin that was trending that day. And those are also on V1. And anyone who's listening, any V1 LP pair on PulseX, a very, very large percentage of those fees are going to the buy and burn of PulseX. The 2 liquidity pairs, the value that would go to PulseX is actually going to the LP providers. So it doesn't technically help.
That's so true. Most people don't know that. Most people don't I'm finding that out, that they don't realize that V1 does burn PulseX, man. And it burns a lot too.
It burns a lot. Yeah, it makes a huge difference in the amount of buy-in burns that happen for PulseX if the trending assets of the day, the high volume tokens of the day, are either tokens within the farms, which is RHS tickers and the ETH pair and the stablecoin pair pretty much. And then now what we're kind of seeing coming out is, there's usually a trending meme token, and this will probably happen throughout all of the cycles. There'll be new trending meme tokens every single day, and they'll pump, and majority of them will just dump forever. But the point is, they're buying and burning a ton of PulseX. So even if you don't want to play that game, you can kind of just hold PulseX, hold pTGC, because pTGC has a bunch of PulseX in it.
Exactly.
And let the market movement, let the casino gamblers, or just people who are speculating and having fun, let them pump your bags up, because there's only so much PulseX in existence, and there's users and code buying it every single day.
100%, man. 100%. Well, dude, I am going to hop down, but it was good talking with you, man. Oh, the last thing I'll say is this, dude. I will say is, as much as I love, and I mean, it's, whatever, but I love pTGC. Dude, thanks for making UFO, dude. I've been accumulating right in this range, and I am he stepped down, but the dude earlier talking about UFO, man, it's a sleeper, dude. It is a sleeper right now. So yeah, man, I'm hyped on all of this still. Really am.
Yeah, sweet. I think it's a sleeper too. I think when some value starts flowing in, I think UFO is going to be a good sleeper.
I'm just saying, man. It feels like that underdog that you're just like, wait, what? Yeah. So anyway, boys, well, listen, I'm going to step down. It was great talking with you. Great. For real, man.
Yeah, thanks for coming in.
All right, thanks, guys.
I got probably 20 more minutes left, guys. So if anyone else wants to come up, add to the conversation, ask some questions, feel free to raise your hand. You got any questions on YouTube, Banana?
Hold on, and I'll check. Sounds like you're getting your steps in today. You're getting your final steps. Have you got your 10? I bet you of all people has your 10,000 steps in.
Well, I am just pacing around the yard, getting some fresh air, but I don't track my steps, no.
Okay. Crispy Man says, burns and burns and burns is huge. V1 is the majority of the LP. I think he was referring to Hex, maybe. That's all we've got on YouTube.
I think he's referring to maybe the liquidity on chain. I think if you add up the majority of liquidity on chain, maybe it's V1. I don't know, though. I know for pTGC and UFO's liquidity is all on V2 because we wanted the users who are providing liquidity to not only get the PLS rewards for farming, but you also get the V2 liquidity providing rewards as well that you get for just standard V2 liquidity providing. But with pTGC, the main LP pool with PLS, the pair that gets added to by the smart contract with every transaction is the V1 pair as well. So pTGC, I think, contributes to the PulseX or the PulseX buy and burn more than people realize, because the largest pool within pTGC, besides UFO, is V1 as well.
Okay. Who else wants to jump up?
I really love PulseX because it's very similar to pTGC and UFO. I've modeled pTGC and UFO a lot off of PulseX because I think when people do start flowing into PulseChain and when volume starts picking up, there's just not a lot of PulseX out there. I'm really interested to see how that price handles people wanting it and there just being barely any of it on the market, and how the holders handle it, right? Like, are the holders of PulseX going to be able to kind of hold on to their PulseX and really let that get high price? Because if the holders aren't willing to let their PulseX go for cheap, I think it could get up in price very, very quick, because that buy and burn will just keep hitting it every single day. Very similar to pTGC and UFO. If no one's willing to let go of their pTGC or UFO and prices keep rising and that buy and burn's just going hard every single day, it doesn't matter how high it's going to go. It's going to be that constant buyer no matter what.
Okay. Crispy Man confirmed that he was referring to the V1 topic and how much volume runs through it.
Yeah. I forget where I saw that today or yesterday. Someone was showing the top volume pairs throughout all of PulseChain, and there's like 10 of them up on the screen, and I kind of knew all the tokens, and the majority of all of them on the screen were all V1 liquidity pairs, which was just, for me, awesome as a PulseX holder. And also, I know we have a lot of PulseX within pTGC and UFO liquidity. Obviously, we're hoping for a very successful PulseX, because that's just going to drag us up. Two hyper-deflationary tokens bonded together. Probably the first time that's ever been done in crypto that I know of, where you have hyper-deflationary tokens bonded with hyper-deflationary tokens on a very scarce blockchain with very minimum inflation. No demand yet, right? We're still missing a ton of demand on this chain, but if demand kicks in here soon, it could get really exciting.
Yep. Yep, indeed. I'm ready for it. The question is, are we ready for it? Because remember when he had Spaces, when we were running red hot a few weeks ago, and Spaces was loaded with people. You remember that about 3 Saturdays ago?
I don't remember it loaded, to be honest with you. Were a lot of people listening or asking questions?
Well, there was 150 people on our Spaces. I've got the records, man. There's probably maybe 50 in our, less than 50 right now in our Spaces. So when we get hopping again, the Spaces gets really lively, which is good, because then you have a lot of chat, a lot of interactions, and people are excited. And
so Crispy Man might be, if he's still listening, we'll see if he responds in there.
Okay.
I'd be interested to hear how many, or what the increase of holders he thinks was from the first, what do you think that was, 6 months to a year of Hex being out, before ETH started trending towards its all-time high, and what the increase of Hex holders was last bull market.
Yeah.
Crispy Man, I was saying I think Hex increased in holders probably 20 to 50x last bull market. And then I'm kind of saying these numbers because I'm saying, like, hey, this bull market, knowing Richard, I bet you we could do somewhat similar, maybe better. So yeah, if you're listening, he might even have data on it, because Crispy always got tons of data.
He's the data guy.
Yeah,
he's the data dad.
he might even know like the exact number, like, hey, we had this amount of holders before the bull run of last cycle, and then we had 30x more by the end of it.
Right.
So we'll see if he responds, and if not, we'll shut it down after that, or probably shut it down, period.
Okay. Let's see. I can't tell, on YouTube, you can't tell if somebody's typing.
We'll give him like 5 minutes.
You got 5 minutes, Crispy. He knows I'm joking. He knows he's my buddy. He might be busy also, but that would be interesting to hear from him what he thinks the wallets. You're referring to, users and wallets, right?
Yeah, I think really the only way we'd be able to track that is wallets, right? But if the wallets increased by 20x, I'd say that's fair to guess that the users increased by 20x.
Yep. I think he must be busy.
Yeah, that's okay.
I think he's on the
If
East Coast.
anyone listening knows, get with me and Banana. I'd be interested to know. I know after this bull cycle, we'll for sure know what the increase is on pTGC.
Yes. Yeah, as long as Prairie Banana keeps up with all the records, at least I'll have my own records, I hope. As long as I remember to do it at the turn of every month. Crispy did get back. He says, I'll have to put it together for the next stream, but we have seen increasing numbers. But Crispy, we were talking about the previous cycle. Like, what do you think and you can get this together for the next stream too, but do you have any records, or what do you think the number of wallets, the increase was from?
So I think X came out in 2020.
December 2019.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So December 2019. So pretty much, yeah. So right at the start of 2021, I'd say that first year, because 2020, January to December, that's a whole year. So whatever holders those were, but from the start of 2021 to the end of that bull market, I wonder how much the hex holders increased in that time period, in that year-long time period, 2021 to 2022.
Yeah.
I would think hex 20x its user count last bull run, 20x to 50x.
I think that's a fair guess. And even that is a big number, really, when you're talking.
It's huge.
Yeah.
Imagine PulseChain's community 20 to 50x increasing. That means, like, when you go on Twitter, all those same people you see, there'd be 20 to 50 times more. Every spaces we do, there'd be 20 to 50 times more the amount of people just listening and speaking. So instead of us and 2 people being up here, it could be us and 40 people up here.
And then, as Coondog was saying on Saturday Spaces, that law that he mentioned, if PulseChain 20x's its users, then the value of the token does a number of X's as well. And it's not just 20. I think it's like 20 times 10 or something like that. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I definitely believe it, because you think about it like this. Like, if there's 10,000 active users on PulseChain right now, and we double that, let's say we get 10,000 more active users. And for fun, let's say the average user brings $10,000 in. Do you think that's fair?
I'm actually talking to somebody right now about bringing 2 people over for $10,000 each.
Okay. So
literally.
So we have 10,000 active users. Let's say within this bull market, we only 2x that. Bring in 10,000 more people, which 2x in is like nothing. And each person in general brings in $10,000. Well, that's $100 million in the PulseChain.
Yeah. Whoa, man. So do you know
that's like 100x of PulseChain if we didn't have any sell pressure. Obviously, we'll probably have sell pressure in that event, but.
Well, let's find out. I'm going to the calculator. Did you say 100 million into PulseChain? 100 million?
If we onboard 10,000 users in the PulseChain and each person brought the average of $10,000, it's $100 million.
Okay. $100 million of price impact from PLS onto PLS would be 109x. 109x. So 100 million, basically $100 million, $100x. That's not much money either.
That's only a 2x the user base. Like I said, I think last cycle hex probably 20x the user base. Let's do it. If we got 100,000 new holders in with $10,000, that would be $1 billion in the PulseChain. So that's like 10xing the user base. What would $1 billion in the PulseChain be, Banana?
9,149x. 47 cents.
Yeah. And then the cool thing for pTGC, right, is we get those X's. But the other cool thing is now we have 10 times the amount of users that possibly might want to be exposed to pTGC and UFO.
Yeah. 91 and a 9149X on PLS with pTGC just doing a X factor of 5 would be, everybody might want to sit down. It's reminding me of about 6 weeks ago on Monday Night Spaces. $30, 45,000 X's. That's why we're recommending everybody get a just in case bag. If you're on the fence, get 1 million pTGC. Just get you 1 million pTGC, tuck it behind your ear and forget about it. Because we don't know. We don't know for sure.
Yeah, if someone isn't exposed to pTGC, UFO, or even Richard's tickers in general, they better hope that Richard doesn't pull something off, because there's a life-changing opportunity in front of us right now. Change your whole entire family's life. It's risky, right? We're taking a risk here on PulseChain. It's a brand new blockchain, very little adoption to this point, but over a very short amount of time, it can get really crazy. And the truth is, by the time most people catch on to it and get involved, it could be 10x higher, 20x higher, which is fine. It's probably still a great opportunity. I personally still even think ETH is a great opportunity right now, but it's 10 years old. It's already done thousands of X's.
Yeah. It's crazy stuff, man. But crazy things happen in crypto. And I think many of the people here are here for some crazy things.
Definitely. Cool. I think that's a good place to stop it. If you have anything else, Banana, I've been going for 2 hours now.
Yeah, no, I'm good, man. I think it was a really chill space, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm glad some people came up. Stylist, thank you for coming up.
Yeah.
PulseX or extra PulseX, thank you for coming up. And Trevor, thanks for coming up.
Yeah. All right, Zen.
Yes. All right. Cool. See you guys.
All right. See ya. That's it for Spaces. Man, that was fun. All right, guys. Hey, it's good to see you. Only Crypto. My friend. Legend. Maddie Crypto. Banana Peel. Are you the one that calls me Banana Peel? You may continue to call me Banana Peel. I don't mind. What's shaking? Just finished another Spaces. Probably. Ooh, that could have been number 100 Spaces. We started over a year ago. We've done over 100 Spaces like that twice a week. Yeah, that could have been 100. I don't know, 10, 20. That's what's happening. Maddie Crypto, you are the one. All right, guys. Have a good night. It's been fun. Appreciate you guys. Let's go have a bull run, okay? One day, 1 week, 1 month at a time. You just got to be patient. But yeah, let's go crush it. See you guys.